We haven't talked about wigs in a long time. But today, a very dear friend of mine asked me a question. No. And there's a little bit of chidush about it, but also to summarize the whole thing of what's happened here. And he asked me a really good question. It's a multi-part question. He said to me, how do we know, we're saying that for years already, how do we know that the t-shirt or the honey or whatever other products you're getting that says made in India are also not avodah zarah? If you're saying that the wigs are avodah zarah, why isn't the honey avodah zarah and the t-shirt and the toy and then this? And further, wouldn't it make more sense if, before we announce this to the world, we go get the approval of the Gdolei Ador, the biggest rabbis in the world? And they would issue something, and it would go to the little people, instead of the little people bringing up to the Gdolei Ador. And it wouldn't just necessarily be me. And also, is even so, even if there's a case here, the fact that there is avodah zarah in the world, is it still the same thing as avodah zarah that the Torah is talking about? Because the avodah zarah that the Torah is talking about, some of them had powers to really do stuff. So is avodah zarah still applicable? And further, it's become an acceptable minhag to wear wigs. So what, you're going to go out there and tell people you're not allowed to wear wigs because it's most likely from India, and once it's from there, the reality is that it's certain that it has source of avodah zarah. So now, not only are you going to make people go spend money to change their lives and so on, and lose money perhaps on wigs they have, but also all the big rabbis that said it's okay, they all look foolish now. Isn't that disrespecting of the Torah they have? So it's a multi-part question. So we'll answer all of them, Be'ezrat Hashem, because it has a lot to do with everything that we're talking about. There's obviously much more to this Mishnah, but this specific question has apparently siyata d'shmaya. A half hour before I arrived, or something like that, an hour before I arrived, I got this question. I said, this must be from Shamayim, because I don't usually get questions from him, number one. Number two, somebody asked you a question right before a shiur, there's something there. So here we see that Am Yisrael is suffering an enormous amount of suffering right now. Every other day we hear that there is an accident, there's a terrorist attack, there is some tragic event to Am Yisrael, there's a disease, there's a fire, something is happening, there's something wrong in the water here, overdoses. Bad things are happening to Am Yisrael despite the good condition that we're in. We're in a good situation technically right now where we have money, we have freedom, we even have our own land, even though there's still a lot of enemies, but still we have the freedom and we have the land, but yet we're clueless and we don't even know the hand that feeds us. And there's over 1 million Jewish kids in Israel that do not know Shema Yisrael. The average American Jew does not keep Shabbat. In fact, 90% of them do not. And even 40% of the religious Jews say it's okay to work on Shabbat. And they call themselves religious. So there's a lot of tragedies in ignorance, in what's happening to us as a people. And I believe it has a lot to do with this Mishnah. Because if you notice, the main reason why people justify continuing to wear wigs is because of somebody saying it's okay. Once they got their local rabbi to say it's okay, it doesn't really matter why he said it's okay. They just assume he's a rabbi, the other guy's a rabbi, he's a rabbi for longer, maybe he has more books on his shelf, maybe even has a longer beard, maybe he has more friends that are rabbis, maybe he's a better speaker, maybe he's better looking, maybe he has more kids. Meaning, all of the reasons of why I'm going to listen to this one have nothing to do with the truth. It's just that he said it's okay, you're saying it's not, so it's a machloket, it's a debate. I'll take his side. Why? His side fits my life. I already have the wig. For you, I have to change. What you're saying, it sounds okay. I'm not saying it sounds terrible, but I have to change my life. I have to take off the wig. I have to put mitpachat. I don't really like the way the mitpachat looks like. I have to change my life. The guy that's in my local Chabad, my local synagogue, says it's okay, I'm going with him. Now, once people have some more questions, they realize there's something wrong here. They say, oh, I have to go at a bigger rabbi. Oh, look, the Lubavitcher Rebbe says wigs are okay. Yes, he said wigs are okay to a certain extent, but he didn't say Avodah Zarah is okay. Oh, yeah, Rabbi Belsky said it's okay, it's not really Avodah Zarah. Yeah, but you don't hold by Rabbi Belsky completely. You can't just take one halacha and pick with him. Meaning, we keep choosing our decisions based on our convenience and not based on the truth. Which means that those of us that are making people believe that it's okay to wear the wigs have to understand that they are the biggest part of the problem in this generation. I don't care if you're a leader, or you're an average woman selling the wigs in your store, or you're even wearing the wig, telling other women you should also wear wigs. You advocating it, you're taking the problem on your shoulders. I can tell you one thing. I'm not a prophet. I'm not even a dust under a prophet, but I can make common sense. A woman told somebody that sells wigs, listen, maybe a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, says, listen, this guy, I don't know him, but he brought some really serious facts to the table. You most likely are selling Avodah Zarah in your wig store. The woman says, leave me alone with this Avodah Zarah. Some other rabbi came, bigger than him, years ago. They said yes, then they said no. I'm selling my wigs. It's a big business. Less than a year passed. A son has cancer right now and he's dying. A little son, little baby kid, has cancer now. Lost all of his hair. He has cancer and he's dying. And people go, no, it's just bad luck. It's bad luck. Okay, people are going to hunt me down. Oh, yeah, you're saying wigs are cause of cancer. I'm not saying anything. All I'm saying, things are happening. Something's happening. Something wrong in the water. Something's wrong here. It's not one event, 2 events, 3 events. We're talking about dozens of events happening. So now, let's answer the questions. First and foremost, Avodah Zarah applies in every single generation. The Gemara, Masechet Avodah Zarah, specifically says Avraham Avinu had 400 chapters to his tractate of Avodah Zarah in comparison to us having only 5 chapters. So what did he have so much more? He had a bigger Torah than us, 395. His Masechet Avodah Zarah, his tractate, his teaching about idol worship, was bigger than our entire Gemara. What did he have? First and foremost, you should know, there's a lot of forms of Avodah Zarah. Some of them are statues. Some of them are people. Some of them are money. Some of them are simply being angry. And the Chachamim explained that all of those extra tractates were different forms of anger and bad midot and bad acts that led a person to idolatry. It's not just idol. There's 400 different types of idols or 4 million types of idols. It's different forms of idolatry, meaning that idolatry applies today and forever and never changed. This is why when Yeshua ben Nun, the Gdol Ador that took control after Moshe Rabbeinu, came into Eretz Yisrael, first mitzvah he got from Hashem Yitbarach, Brit Milah. Second mitzvah, destroy all of the Asher trees. Why? Somebody bowed to those trees one time, they officially became a part of Avodah Zarah. Yeah, but we're not going to worship them. It doesn't make a difference. Once something becomes Avodah Zarah, once something becomes a Korban, the only mitzvah you can fulfill with it is destroy it. It has no right to exist. You can't sell it. You can't eat it. You can't even keep it there exist. You cannot allow it to exist. You must destroy it from the world. This is why, by the way, anyone that bought the book that I told you guys about the blessings and which blessing to do on what, if you look at the back of the book, Birkot Eliyahu, at the back of the book it tells you about special blessings, above and beyond food and so on. The special blessings of when you see interesting things. If you see a strange looking person, there's a special blessing to do. If you see a church, you're supposed to do a blessing that blessed is HaShem, that He will destroy the idolatry from the world. You're supposed to bless HaShem, that Be'ezrat HaShem, He's going to destroy this church. That's the reality, Rabotai. Idolatry is detestable. It's To'avat HaShem. It's disgusting to HaShem. Anyone that has a little bit of Yirat Shamayim would look into this further before they put Avodah Zarah, even a potential Avodah Zarah on their head. You have to double check this. How could you take a risk to put something that Hashem says is disgusting to me? A Mechalel Shabbat is considered an idolater. Someone drives on Shabbat, smokes a cigarette on Shabbat, is considered 100% an idol worshiper. According to the Torah, Ilchot Shabbat and the Rambam, chapter 30, last halacha. Now, so Avodah Zarah never ceases to exist. Sometimes it's money, sometimes it's a person, it can even be a rabbi, it could be a lot of different things. That's one. Two, how do we know it's not the t-shirts and the mustards and the honeys and all the other products coming from India? Because according to our research, the only thing that we saw being used on a massive scale as a sacrifice to the idols was the Wigs. Now, of course, there's 80,000 different cults and religions in India and places like that, and they use other things as sacrifices for other gods. For example, there is one god that's a motorcycle, a Harley Davidson motorcycle. I'm serious. I have the pictures if you guys want to see. There's a motorcycle that's tied to a tree that they pray to this motorcycle. So obviously, that motorcycle, you can't use it. You can't ride this motorcycle as a Jew or anyone because it's an idol. If someone gave, I don't know, a dove or a piece of chocolate or a bottle of water or a piece of paper or anything to this idol, you can't use it anymore. You have to destroy it. Even if it's just a motorcycle, which is as stupid as it gets, doesn't make a difference whether it's stupid or not. All idolatry is stupid. Once it's used as a korban, once it's associated with idolatry, finished. Now, they also have an idol, which is they have one temple in India full of, there's a huge pool in the middle of the temple full of milk. Why? Because the gods come and drink. What god they have? Rats. They have 100,000 rats filling this temple, drinking this milk. And I have pictures of this also if you want to see. And people go as tourists, take pictures, and they stand next to these rats. Somebody sees a rat in the New York subway, they complain to the government. Over there, they go see them, 100,000 of them. It's much disgusting. Then there's other people that pray to trees, pray to cows, pray to different types of idolatry. And all of them bring different sacrifices. Sometimes they bring money. Sometimes they bring this. But the most common thing is hair. Why? It's part of the general population's culture to the extent that over 20 million people in India sacrifice their hair every year. Every year. This is more than the rest of the world combined by a magnitude of 1,000. You can't compare the two. Meaning, it's over 90% of the hair that's produced in the world is coming from there. It's the only place big enough to make a market. Like some people said, yeah, but what about this hair coming from Cambodia? I said, Cambodia, the entire population of Cambodia, all of Cambodia, forget the donors of hair, all of Cambodia is 17 million. The entire population is 17 million. So let's just say all of the Cambodians decided tomorrow, we're all going to go bald. We're all going to shave. That's not even the market of the Indian market for 1 year. And now, once all the Cambodians went bald, hypothetically speaking, that's it. That killed that market for 8-9 years. Because it takes a long time to grow hair. So even if all the Cambodians shave their head tomorrow, hypothetically speaking, you're still not matching the Indian market every year. Meaning the only way you could ever make a market to have wigs is from India. There's no other market like it. Not from China, not from Cambodia, not from anywhere. Because even if you calculate that, let's say, for example, in China, they don't give it to gods, but they give it to dead people. They take to shave the head of the dead people. Shave the head of dead people in China, and they sell that hair. So let's say, okay, so there's a lot of people that die every year. They shave the head. First and foremost, you're not allowed to have that hair because it's from a dead person, according to halacha. But second of all, even if you took the hair of all the dead people in all of the world, not just China, all of the world, the entire world, dead people, how much is that? 18 million. 18 million people die every year. That's it. Meaning if not just China's market, all the dead people in the world, one of the new customs, laws, whatever you want to do it, shave their head and sell it as a wig to a Bat Israel. Chas v'shalom. Okay, 18. That still does not match the living market of India. Do you understand? It's for all of those that are trying to argue, how do you know it's from India? How do you know it's from India? I'm an economist. This is what I did for a living for 20 years. All the rabbis, but this is what I do. Forget about whether it's wigs or it's toy supplies or coffee. The product is irrelevant. This is what we did. So now, once you understand that a certain product was used as a korban, as a sacrifice, that's it. Only mitzvah to fulfill at that point is destroying it. You're not allowed to use it, benefit from it. You're not even allowed to look at it, really. So now, what about the next thing? Why don't we just go to the Gdolei Hador and have them say something? The good news is, people for some reason think that I'm the only guy fighting this battle. Maybe I started it, maybe I didn't, I don't really care, I don't want any credit for anything. First and foremost, the original idea came from Rabbi Yashiv. Rabbi Yashiv, alav shalom, in 2004, he's the original one that found out this is idolatry, but then the whole fake kosher wig thing came into the market, and after they burned tons of wigs in Yerushalayim, in America, in different parts of the world, it went back into the market because of this kosher wig scam that we have in the world today, and since 2004. So I just revived it, or maybe I was one, I don't really know what the point is. It doesn't really make a difference. The key is, whether it started alone or not is irrelevant, because right now, and it's already been for a few years, we've been talking about this, we're no longer alone. There's a huge organization in Israel, religious, Jewish, Hasidus organization in Israel that has been part of it and has done even further research than what we did. We helped as much as we can with people in India that looked and went to the temples and spoke to the people that are, I don't know, whatever you want to call them, priests. Spoke to the people there. Spoke to the donors. It's not just I looked at YouTube videos only. I decided, okay, that's it. Everybody's an idol worshiper. Before we came out, I mean, we had to do a lot of research. You don't just say to people, by the way, most of the religious Jews in the world have an idol on their head. You have to be a psychopath to do such a thing. So now, before we came out, we double-checked with our rabbis, we double-checked with the information, we triple-checked, quadruple-checked, Now, Baruch Hashem, we're no longer alone. There's a huge organization put together. They've officially put together a 300-page book that was recently published online. It is being printed, Baruch Hashem, that has been sent to many of the Gdolei Hador. And many of these Gdolei Hador have already signed off. It's not only that wigs are idolatry, it's 1,000,000%. It's not possible. It's 1,000,000%. Now, it's in Hebrew. We're trying to, this is a rabbinical version. It has a lot of intricate parts of halakha. It's 300 pages. We're trying to get a simpler version translated to English, which is probably going to be 50, 60 pages. To the general consumer. I mean, anyone that could read details of halakha can probably read Hebrew also. But the ones that don't know probably want an easier version. We're trying to get it. We just need a little bit of money to put things together. But the point being is that this is already out, and many rabbis have already put an askama on it, put it in their keilot, had the people in the keilah take off the wigs, burn them. It's already very big in Israel, Baruch Hashem. Unfortunately, the galut, the exile, the Mitzrayim that we're in, the Egypt that we're in, has a bigger yetzara. So it hasn't arrived here to the same extent. hasn't been received here to the same extent. There's a lot more problems in America, in Europe, in the exile. But eventually it's going to come out. The truth will eventually come out. But the point being here is that we're no longer the only guy with a beard talking about this being Avodah Zarah. There's many that are part of it, much, much greater than I could ever be, that have signed off that these wigs are Avodah Zarah from India and so on and so forth. Anyone that wants to know it, no problem, we'll send you the book. No problem, it's online, it's a digital version. Once we have a hard copy, we'll send hard copies, but most likely it's going to be all digital versions. For any rabbi that wants it, we can get it to them. That rabbinical copy is already finished. We could also send it to regular people also, but I just think that most regular people most likely are going to want something a little simpler. Either way, it's available. So as far as waiting for the system, the big rabbis to do something, and then the little guy says, the Torah doesn't work that way. Makom she'en ish tishtadel liyot ish. That's Mishnah in Pirkei Avot. In a place that there's no leader, you be the leader. If there's something, if you see that your brother and your sister are standing on train tracks, and the train is coming, you're not going to wait until his mom or dad come to tell him to move. You're not going to go, you know what, I'm going to tell on you, okay, hey, Mrs. Jones, your son is in a... You're not going to do that. Why? The train's coming. There's not enough time. He's in danger. She's in danger. Even if you don't like the guy, you're going to say, listen, achi, achoti, get out of the way. The train's coming. The fact that they didn't say anything, they didn't do anything, is not my problem. I'm just trying to save you. I'm going to tell you what it says. You do whatever you want. You want to stay in the train tracks? Enjoy. The train's coming. You guys are going to get to know each other intimately. You're going to get to know each other really well soon. You want to move? Move. The fact that your rabbi doesn't agree or didn't tell you, or the biggest rabbi is, that's not my problem. It's not your problem either. The problem is what's the truth and what's a lie. If I'm giving you a 300-page book proving it, if I'm showing you already lecture after lecture after lecture with more and more material proving it, we already have, I don't know how much time in lectures proving the case with new information every time. What else do you want? You want the Mashiach himself to come, says, take off your wig? What else do you want? Or Moshe Rabbeinu says, hey, by the way, it's Avodah Zarah. What do you want? Bat Kol to come down from Shamayim, hey, listen, it's Avodah Zarah. What do you want? The reality is, even if the Chabadniks, some of them are so stubborn sometimes, that even if the Lubavitcher Rebbe came back from the dead, told them, by the way, no more wigs, said, no, you're not a Rebbe anymore. We have a new guy. People are so stubborn, just like we read in the beginning, the prophet Malachi was saying. We're so stubborn, sometimes we don't realize we're sinning. What do we do? So, as far as the system, waiting for the big rabbis to live, it's not the way the Torah works. You're all responsible for two things. Number one, you must rebuke your brother. You see your brother sinning, you have to tell him. Second thing is, you cannot stand over his blood. You see your brother is about to kill himself, about to hurt himself by a certain sin, you can't just sit there and do nothing. You have to save him. You have to do something. You cannot stand over his blood. She's wearing a wig. You know for sure that it's 99.9% chance it's Avodah Zarah. You can't just do nothing. Now, I'm not telling you to start pulling people's hair off and see if it's a wig, if it's not. I'm not doing that. We're not crazy people. But to just remain quiet, sit there pretty, and say, oh, Hashem will judge. Hashem is judging you too. Hashem is judging you too for not saying anything. So as far as waiting for the system, for the big rabbis, that's not the way the Torah works. Next thing was a very interesting question. I said, what about all the rabbis that perhaps don't know, good rabbis, tzaddikim, they don't know the information, they don't know about the Avodah Zarah part, and I've been saying it's okay now, and maybe they passed on already, maybe they're still alive, they say it's okay, they don't know it's Avodah Zarah, so wouldn't you publicizing it to the public and causing so much uproar and confusion, wouldn't that, embarrass those big rabbis? Rabotai, the Mishnah in Masechet Sanhedrin, we learn from Parashat Balak and Pinchas, the Maaseh of Pinchas killing Zimri and Cosby. Before he went and killed them, He went to Moshe Rabbeinu. He said to Moshe Rabbeinu, Moshe, isn't the halakha that we learned from Hashem Yitbarach in Mount Sinai that if a Jewish man is intimate with a Jewish woman and you see them in the middle of the act and you're zealous, you're allowed to kill them? Moshe Rabbeinu says, yes, I forgot the halakha, you remembered it, you said it, go do it. And Pinchas, who later on became Eliyahu Navi, went and killed Zimri, the leader of the Shimon tribe, the Gdol Ador, the biggest rabbi in the world in the Shimon tribe, and Cosby, the Goya. Killed them together while they were in the act. And Hashem blessed him to become a Kohen Gadol. Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKohen. And said, you're going to live forever. He became Eliyahu Navi, who never died, and that's why he's going to come 3 days before Mashiach comes. Why? Because in order for the Mashiach to become a prophet, before the Mashiach become a king, and so on, an existing prophet has to be here. We don't have prophets anymore. Hashem says, I'm going to return the only prophet that's still alive. Who? Eliyahu Navi. So now, Chachamim ask, wait a minute. In Gemara Masechet Sanhedrin says, wait a minute. This Mishnah says you're not allowed to go say halakha in front of your rabbi. You're not allowed to say halakha in front of your rabbi. Just said it now. Somebody asked a question. The rabbi has to answer, not you. But Pinchas, what did he do? He said it. He said, hey, Moshe, you're the rabbi. Don't you remember the halakha? So how could he say halakha in front of his own rabbi and then get rewarded for it nonetheless? So the Mishnah says, the Gemara says, what? In a place that there's Chilul Hashem, there's no honor consideration to the rabbi. If there's Chilul Hashem, if Hashem's name is being desecrated, there's no regard whatsoever to any rabbi's kavod, respect, honor, nothing. That's why anytime we go and we say things publicly, it's not that I want to insult people or go to wars. Wait, they have nothing to do with my life. I'm bored. Oh, let's pick a war with this guy. Let's pick a war with that guy. Let's go pick a war with this guy. They have nothing to do with my life. Baruch Hashem, I want to spend my time with my kids, my wife. I barely see them. If it wasn't Shabbat, I wouldn't see them. People need help 24 hours a day. You think I have nothing to do with my life? The reality is, no one else is talking, so what are you going to do? Baruch Hashem, Rabbi Mizrahi has been talking for 24 years. Baruch Hashem, you say, okay, I got to join the club. Why? Well, is he going to do everything by himself? Few are talking. You see something, what, I must say, all right, maybe you should say something, you do it. No such thing. Place this Chilul Hashem, there's no regard whatsoever to the honor of the rabbi. You see that there's Chilul Hashem, there are rabbis that are not saying the truth. That there are people that literally are benefiting from Avodah Zarah, and the reality is no one is saying anything. You must say something. When I saw the video that Jonathan Sachs made with the debate with the atheist, and he's called Chava, he called Eve a prostitute, and said that it's all just one parable, it's not a real story, I went out and I said, listen, this what he's saying is heresy. It doesn't matter that he used to be the rabbi of England, and he wrote a million books, and he's old, and he's a nice guy, and it doesn't make a difference. Chilul Hashem is desecration of Hashem's name. Bnot Yisrael HaKdoshim, the daughters of Israel, the holy ones. They don't even know they're holy sometimes, but they don't realize when there's a wig on their head, it's Chilul Hashem. It's Chilul Hashem if it's Avodah Zarah. It's Avodah Zarah, and I'm telling you, we did the research. And you don't believe us, now you're going to have a 300-page book coming out. 300 pages proving it, page after page after page after page, interviews. I mean, there's much more than what they're releasing. There's much more than that. The point is, it's not an opinion. It's not a machloket. There's no machloket here. There's truth, there's a lie. So we're not concerned about, oh, this one's going to be embarrassed, that one's going to be embarrassed, this one's going to be offended, that one's going to be offended. All we care about is Hashem going to be offended. Is Bat Israel going to be offended? Is Bat Israel going to go up to Shamayim and they're going to punish her for something she didn't even know she was doing wrong? Her son got cancer. She doesn't even realize it's because of what she has on her head sometimes, or what she did in our job sometimes, or what's happening in the world. Somebody has to say something. If I have to be the Korban, Baruch Hashem. Let me be the Korban. What do I care? If I wanted to go make money, I go back to Wall Street. So the reality is, Rabotai, all of these issues that people are asking about, the rabbis, the system, the Gedolei Ador, the this, the that, it's all literally nothing. It's addressed. It's all addressed. It's all been addressed. It's going to continue being addressed. What's happening in Israel is going to continue to grow. People that are doing tshuva, Baruch Hashem, will continue to do tshuva. Many women, Baruch Hashem, have sent me pictures of their wigs being burned. Many women, Baruch Hashem, have sent me stories, emails, that sometimes they even from Chabad, they put a mitpachat on, some send pictures, some send just a story, an email. Baruch Hashem, people are waking up, but it's still not enough. Still not enough. We still need a lot more. This book will help. The emails will help. Spreading the message will help. Even a clip from this lecture will help. The point is, it's all going to help. But, only thing that will help in the end is tshuva. People actually doing tshuva. People do tshuva, we have nothing to worry about. People don't do tshuva, we have everything to worry about. So the problem is that just like there's corruption in politics, there's also corruption in religion. Judaism is not excluded from corruption. And this whole business of kosher wigs is 100% the biggest corruption that has happened at least in the last 150 years, if not ever, to the nation of Israel. Because it's 100% corruption, lying to people's faces and telling them that they know how to verify whether a wig is from idolatry or not. If anyone that spent a few minutes researching how they make wigs will see it's literally impossible. Literally impossible to verify a single wig. Forget about all the wigs, a single wig. If it came from idolatry or not. Impossible. Why? Because they mix the hair, they measure it based on length, meaning that every wig has multiple types of hair, multiple heads. It's impossible. What do? They send a rabbi there once every several months just so they can collect a paycheck, and the rabbi smells the hair. He's like, oh yeah, this is not idolatry. So much. It's like they're just fooling people in front of their faces, and people are like, yeah, but my rabbi said it's okay. What is it like? Some people made videos online about how some companies, Baruch Hashem, not kosher companies, non-kosher companies, they make hot dogs. And to make hot dogs, all the types of that type of meat, they take all the nastiest stuff, all the nastiest stuff left from the animals, the feet, the hooves, the legs, the eyes, whatever you can, pretty much everything no one else wants to eat. And they put it into a mixer, they make it into a paste, they put some sauce on it, you eat it, and wow, yummy, delicious. It tastes delicious. Can't deny it tastes delicious. Then they take out, there's the one that came from good parts, came from bad parts, tastes the same thing. You can't taste the difference. But what's the difference here? The one that they gave you all the garbage, they made you believe it came from good stuff too. What is that like? It's Yetzirah. Yetzirah will make you eat garbage your whole life. Make you think it's kosher. Make you think it's good. Make you think it's mitzvah. But all the while, you're eating garbage. Why? You didn't check. You did not check. You did not verify. You just assumed, some guy said it's okay. Okay, he happens to be a rabbi. Okay, he happens to be the local rabbi. Okay, he happens to have a book, or 2 books, or 20 books, or 30 books. Doesn't make a difference. You still have to pay a deen for yourself. You have to pay a deen for yourself. You want to sell wigs? You want to sell unkosher food, unkosher products? Enjoy. We're just here to provide information. You want to do it? At least you were warned. You can't go up to Shammai and say, no one told me. Someone told you. Look, It was a lecture. You watched it. You cursed the guy out. You sent him a few hate mails too. You continued telling like nothing was wrong the next day. No problem. At least you won. Why? In Shamayim, after you see the video, you're gonna say to Hashem, Hashem, I deserve the punishment. Please punish me. Which chamber?